Many people talk about the ups and downs of married life, but no one really prepares you for life after your spouse passes away. Welcome to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, a safe place for widows, widowers, and their friends and family to talk about love and loss. Find comfort as you listen to honest conversations between Tina and invited guests who've experienced the loss of their forever partner. Share their stories of love, grief, and healing. You are not alone in this journey. Join today's episode and discover a wealth of resources and learn how to connect with others who are traveling the same path. This is Widowhood Real Talk with Tina.
Hello, Widowhood, and welcome to the first episode of 2025. Yes, I have a list because there are no interview questions. I'm having this conversation with you, and I wanted to make sure to cover everything. First of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me to hold a safe space for you. We have now entered our third year of this conversation, and it has been quite the ride. If this is the first day of you grieving the loss of a loved one, or maybe several years down the road, I know the conversations that we have and the community that we've created with Widowhood Real Talk with Tina will serve you well. My recommended book for 2025 that I am starting to read is called The Grieving Brain by Mary Frances O'Connor, PhD. This is a book that I will be reading in 2025 and making many references to. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be able to have her as a guest on the podcast. I want you to know that in 2025, I am creating a vision for Widowhood Real Talk with Tina. You may only be listening to us as a podcast, but I want you to know that we are a registered 501c3 nonprofit. And with a corporation and being the founder, I am creating a vision. I like vision boards. I like pictures. And in here, different things are going to be covered. There are a few things that I've covered already as far as a vision for widowhood, but I want you to know that this is intentional. We have a purpose, and I have come to embrace that my purpose is serving the bereaved. Yes, this organization was founded on the passing of my late husband, Mark, but the word widowhood is intentional because the loss not only impacts me as his wife, but it impacts my entire hood. I'm from Chicago, and for me, the word hood represents family. So Mark's passing has impacted his children. It has impacted his siblings, our neighbors, our family, our friends, co-workers. Anyone that Mark was in contact with was impacted when his life left this world. And so is this foundation. Widowhood Real Talk with Tina was developed intentionally to inspire people not just to exist after the passing of their loved one, but learning how to live and create a life that they thrive in. Understanding that process may be different for each individual. So, but know we are on this journey with you. I want to thank you for 3 years of Widowhood Real Talk with Tina being in existence. I want to thank you for knowing that this is a safe space. I want to thank you for allowing me to encourage you, to give you words of hope, give you words of inspiration, and to have supportive discussions. This year, I want to invite you to embrace the full Widowhood Real Talk with Tina community. And if you've only been limited to the podcast, which has been good, I just want to let you know the community exists beyond the podcast. And you say, what does that look like? The Widowhood Real Talk with Tina community. Let me give you a few things. We have our own confidential brief Discord. And there are people that are listening to this content on the podcast, on different podcasting applications, on YouTube, and other different places. But what I've found is when I'm able to bring everyone together in community, the ability for people to share, encourage each other, and to be able to grow is inspiring. There are people that see content on Instagram and different people that see content on TikTok. And when everyone is able to come together and unite in the grief discord, the conversation is rich. Because what do we know about people who are grieving? Sometimes we are often awake when the world is asleep. And to be able to come together on the grief discord and ask questions, seek encouragement, and even be able to chat with people one on one is very empowering. Another way that you could join me in community, I go live on TikTok every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a great opportunity to catch up on what is the topic for the week, engage with other people in the bereaved community, and connect one on one. Another way is we have a private Facebook group, and that is another opportunity to connect with other people in the widowhood and to be able to engage and find support and encouragement. We also host two grief support groups peer to peer. On the second Thursday of every month, it is a men's only grief support group that is hosted by Mr. James Price. And the last Thursday of the month, I host a grief support group open to everyone. And you may say, why do the guys get their own grief support group? Because our men need a safe space to be vulnerable and to be transparent and to know that their grief matters and to not have to worry about outside eyes. So we intentionally wanted to create a space for our men to be able to share their grief and to be encouraged and to be uplifted. The other way in which you can join community is email me directly at widowhoodrealtalk@gmail.com. I want to hear from you. I want you to give me your recommended topics for 2025. I want to know if you're interested in sharing your story and being a guest on my podcast. I would like to know if you have any guests that you would recommend me speaking with over the year. And I would invite you to maybe host a podcast and you interview me in 2025. So those are different ways that you can become part of the community of Widowhood Real Talk with Tina. As we just wrapped up 2024, we hosted our second in-person event here in Norfolk, and it was amazing to be able to connect in person with people that have been listening to the podcast on different social media platforms and to come together. We laughed, we cried, we smiled, we joked, we danced, and we took plenty of pictures. And I invite you to be able to participate in the events that we have at Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, because all of these events are intentionally created to inspire you, encourage you, and to strengthen you on this very difficult journey. This year, we have a lot of different things planned for you. As far as the way as the podcast, my promise to you is to do 4 monologue conversations where I'm talking with you one on one based on the questions that you submit, maybe a current topic or things that are relevant in my life, in my own personal grief as I am going on this journey with you. After this conversation, we have a 4-part discussion with a widow and a widower, them dating and their relationship and how that has come together. I know this conversation is inspiring. I really enjoy speaking with both of them. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about after you hear this conversation. And for Mother's Day, I have a very special conversation with a young lady that's going to share about her mom and her journey through grief. Some of the events that you can look forward to hearing or maybe participating in 2025, August 3rd through the 9th. I want you to be prepared to lace up your walking shoes and participate in Walk for Love. And you say, what is Walk for Love? Walk for Love is our annual event where we ask everyone around the world, and we have people listening to our content in 108 different countries in over 3.7 million views. That's a lot of people. So that's a lot of people that can walk. And Walk for Love, we're asking between August 3rd through 9th that you walk 1 mile a day. And during that 1 mile, I ask you to take a picture, make a video, share something about your loved one, and post on your favorite social media platform with hashtag Walk for Love, hashtag WRTWT. And that every day will encourage you to share about your loved one and also encourage other people to know that they are not alone. Because when we are deep in grief, we often isolate. And my desire is to change that isolation into community. And by participating in Walk for Love, it'll give you an opportunity to connect with other people. Yes, there is merchandise, and we are working on developing that now. So you can sport your Walk for Love sweatshirt, Walk for Love hat, or t shirt during your walk and encourage other people. Another event that we are planning for you in the summer of 2025 is a butterfly release ceremony. We have a local church that has donated land to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, and we are also going to develop a memorial garden. And that's where the butterfly release ceremony will take place. And we're looking forward to you being here with us and participating, staying at a local hotel, or maybe you're in the area and able to drive here. We'll be providing journals and pens and other different things for those who participate. The next item that we're looking to have in 2025 is our Secret Santa. And between June 1st and August 30th, you'll be able to go online and apply for an application. And what that Secret Santa will allow us to do, we are taking applications to allow children to receive Christmas gifts. We understand the burden that comes with one, losing a parent or a loved one, the financial impact that goes with that. And we want to do our part to help you celebrate and have something to look forward to for the holidays. And the way the Secret Santa is working right now for 2024 is we have 7 different children. Their parents completed the process, and their Amazon wish list is posted on our website. And we invite people to come and participate and purchase gifts, and they go directly to the children. So we want to open that application process up earlier in 2025. So from June 1st through August 30th, you'll be able to go onto our website, submit your application, and then we'll have time to work with the selected participants to be able to have their information on our website in a timely manner and allow people to support the children. The other event that we have coming up in November is dealing with grief during the holidays. And because the holidays, they bring a different part of grief. And we want to help you prepare for that. Yes, we have mental health professionals that volunteer their time to support the widowhood to come together to provide a 90-minute seminar workshop format for you to give you a space to talk about your apprehensions, your concerns, and to hear proven help on how to deal with grief during the holidays. And there are a couple of other things that are still being worked out, and I'll let you know as they develop over the year. So thank you for being with me over the last 2 years and now going into our third year. And I am looking forward to the conversations that are to come. I shared with you the book that I'm interested in reading in 2025, but I want to share a bit of the book that I read in 2024. And the book that I was reading in 2024 from Brené Brown is Rising Strong: How the Ability to Reset Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. And this book has been super encouraging for me. And there's a lot here, but I want to read this one part that just really spoke to me and share some things that I found to be very beneficial. And we're on page 194. I don't have my reading glasses. One where we look back and think, I got stuck into proving I could rather than stepping back and asking if I should or if I really even wanted to. This spoke to me because in my personal grief journey, there are a lot of times where I had to think about what it is I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Was I trying to prove that I wasn't stuck in my grief? Was I trying to prove that I could still live in Mark's absence? Was I trying to prove that I was not as sad as I really was sometimes? And if I was trying to prove that, why was it important? And I came to the conclusion for myself there was nothing worth proving to anybody but me. And that allowed me to start thinking if I was going to be sad, then sad I was going to be. I heard one widow say, I loved loud, then I will grieve loudly. And that resonated with me because in this journey, I get to grieve as loud as I want to. And even though there is a difference, people who have been divorced seem to be given the rite of passage to continue living their life, to be upset with the person they were dating or they were married to be happy about living their life and being in this new version of themselves. And one of the things that I've come to conclusion with people in this widowhood that we have to validate ourselves. We have to give ourselves permission to be happy, to live, to laugh, and to enjoy. We get to celebrate that we have done something often the entire world wish that they could do. We have had the privilege of loving someone, being their spouse, and loving them until they took their last breath upon this earth. And that is a choice that we made. That was a vow that we were able to fulfill. And it let me know in reading this portion of the book, it just reaffirmed to me my choice to show up every day in my marriage was something that I wanted to do. And I am grateful to have had the honor to spend 32 years with Mark Fornwald. And I encourage you to celebrate the person that you are grieving. Celebrate the love that still exists today. Their physical body may no longer be in this world, but we still love them. And because you still love them, I encourage you to invoke their name, to say their name out loud, to share stories of them with people. Let your friends and loved ones know you want to invoke their name, that you want to talk about them, that even though they may be gone physically from this world, they are not gone from your heart. And the ability to share their name and share them with other people will let people know that they can also share their stories of your loved one. When at my 1 year mark, at my 1 year celebration of Mark's passing, I reached out to family and friends and I asked them, what do you remember about Mark? What do you remember about the day he left this world? And it opened the door for them to share their Mark stories with me. And so many people were holding back their Mark stories because they didn't want their grief to appear to be bigger than mine. But once I embraced them and added them into the grief journey, I found out things I never knew before. And I encourage you to do the same and share with me what you learn when your friends and family give you stories of your loved one and share that with you. One of the things that she talks about in this portion of the book, to stay in your own lawn and not compare. That spoke to me as far as on this grief journey that oftentimes I find that people try to compare. We've both been grieving for a year, but she seems further along than I am. We've both been grieving for 2 years, and he seems better than I am. We've both lost our child, but she seems to be okay, and he doesn't. Even in the same household, people will compare their grief experience to one another. And it's not fair, and it's not beneficial, and it's not helpful. We all grieve differently. You can both be the parent of a child that is lost and grieve the loss of that child differently. It is not helpful when we try to impose our way of grieving on someone else. And I encourage you to give the people in your life space to grieve the way that they do And don't judge and compare. Don't assess how your grief looks different than theirs and think that they're grieving incorrectly. Know that they're going through their grief at their own pace, at their own time, in the way that works best for them. Now, if you see someone harming themselves, then yes, it would be beneficial to particularly step in, encourage them, or find somebody to help them walk through this journey. But on average, people are just different. Somebody may cry a lot. Somebody else may be very quiet and stoic and reserved. Somebody may throw themselves into working late. Someone else may throw themselves into the gym. But know if the person they love is no longer here, it impacts them. And the other thing about comparison, people say, it's 8 years and I'm still grieving. Newsflash, they're still dead. And if they're still dead, you're going to grieve them. The way you hold and manage that grief will change, most likely over time. But don't be surprised if you're still missing them. You love them and you were accustomed to them being here. So it is only reasonable that their absence from this world will be difficult. It will be hard, and it's something that you will learn to walk through, which is why we're going to read The Grieving Brain. The other thing that she talks about in this portion of the book, talk to ourselves in the way that we talk to our loved ones. Talk to ourselves the way we would talk to our loved ones. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle, be understanding, and be forgiving. So many times on this grief journey, we will what if? If I would have did this, this would be different. If I did this, this would be different. And the reality is, we don't control the universe. We don't determine when someone leaves this world, but we will wrap ourselves around and wrap ourselves and wind ourselves up about I should have did this or I should have did that. And the reality is, oftentimes we did the best that we can do with the knowledge that we have. And if that's the situation, I invite you to find peace with the idea that your loved one has fulfilled their journey in life and you are continuing to walk out yours. The other thing she talks about is reach out to someone we trust. That's community. That is the community that I spoke about earlier. That ability to reach out to other people who have traveled the same road that you're on, reach out to your mental health professional, reach out and email me or contact me. But reaching out gives us a space to be able to talk through things that we are dealing with, understand that there are other people in community with us that have a sense of understanding of how we feel. Those are my top takeaways. Start that all over. Those are my top takeaways from this book of Rising Strong with Brené Brown. Yes, there are tons more nuggets in here, but when I was reading this and how it related to the widow journey, I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for allowing me to be with you, and I am looking forward to what 2025 has to hold. I know it may be a little scary, and I know sometimes you can probably be mad, but I encourage you to take it day by day, moment by moment, and I think you'll be surprised on where this journey may take you. I hope that you're able to participate in one of the events that we have, and I get to speak with you on a personal level. Thank you for being here and be willing to check out the next conversation with my widow friend and on her journey. Have a good day. These are my top three takeaways from this book, Rising Strong from Brené Brown. Yes, there are tons more nuggets inside of this book, but those are the things that resonated with me as far as it related as far as they related to this widow journey. I want to say thank you again for being on this path with me and allowing me to share with you. And if you're just checking out the podcast for the very first time, I invite you to go way back to the first episodes, the conversations with my family and friends, and talking about my personal grief journey so you can see how we got to where we are today. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you for spending another episode with Widowhood Real Talk. If you found the contents of today helpful, share the episode to anyone you know who may need it. Subscribe to the show and tune into Widowhood Real Talk each week. Then visit widowhood-realtalkwithtina.org to join the community and access additional resources. Remember, you are not alone in this journey.